Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the 20 podcast live on the Dugout Football channel. Well, it was going to be live, but we've decided from basically going now on that we're going to be basically doing sort of this pre recorded. Um, Maybe for sort of the next couple of weeks, obviously until the international break is over. But delighted to say that joining me is my right hand man, Mr. Karl Edwards Levy. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad, dog. Not too bad. For yeah, I'm glad we get to do this. Just a fresh set of my minds, just straight after the Monday Night Football game. So it gives us a fresh mind after we've been watching the games all this weekend up till just tonight, about a few months ago. So yeah, not too bad this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, guys, please do hit the like button on both my channel and Carl's channel as well. Do hit the subscribe button on both channels as well. And also, there is a hype button. Yeah, I was kind of learning this. Apparently, it's good for algorithms. So, yeah, please do hit that hype button, and helps both channels to obviously get
Quite
through there.
interesting. I didn't know about the
Um,
hype button that's come now. Yeah, that's interesting.
It's very, very strange. Let me just say that, but no, we'll get straight into it. And the headlines: Palace end Liverpool's six-match unbeaten run in the Premier League. They go 18 unbeaten, which is quite unbelievable. Um, a lot of controversy. I think VAR has had a bit of a nightmare, but we'll get into it as well. And obviously, Amarim suffers the bees' sting as Brentford beat Manchester United 3-1, and we'll get into it as well. But there is only one place to start, and that is Crystal Palace 2, Liverpool 1. Palace 18 unbeaten. That ends Liverpool's unbeaten run, has to be said. Liverpool still scoring though. 40 games in a row now they've scored, which I think is absolutely unbelievable. I'm just going to say it first. Palace deserved it. Simple as that. They were fantastic on the night. I thought they were really, really good. I think you look at like how bad like Amarim's sides are now doing at in Manchester United, and you look at this team that Palace have got, well set up, well drilled. They look a real unit. And Carl, I've got to say, I have no complaints about the result. I thought Crystal Palace thoroughly deserved to win.
Yeah, they deserve to win. Palace they really did. I think Liverpool defensively looked really awful, especially Kanate, who really just so error prone in the game, and it wanted, luckily you're lucky that Allison did make some good saves, and you could have lost by 3-4 goals completely. It's just surprised at how Liverpool just did not play well. I just could not deal with Palace pressing. And I think when you have Wharton and Kamada against each other, next to each other, they're the workhorse in that midfield area. The thing is, when I watched the game, Liverpool just looks so slow and sluggish, and it's like really is I think because Ekitike Isaac had to play after Ekitike was suspended. I think it disrupted the rhythm of how the team of Liverpool's 11 for this weekend completely, and this past weekend completely, because I just thought to myself, thinking, you know, Sarr coming back from his injury, getting the first goal of the game, he looked, like I said, when you have two number 10s behind Mateta, that causes trouble, and it was trouble for Liverpool to deal with for most of that game. And like I said, it's not surprising how Palace has been 8 games of beating Rhoda, and they beat Liverpool in the Community Shield. So this is, I think, like I
Yeah.
said, there's a lot of momentum for the Eagles this season for the first time. Maybe there is something they can do while they're in the conference league, and also maybe pushing it for the top half of the table this season.
I was just about to say that. Like, how far could this Palace team go? Because I'm just looking at them now, fourth in the league, which is absolutely unbelievable. Or I think it's third, either third or fourth in the league that they are at the moment. But how far could they go this season?
It's a good question. I- if they can manage the squad of keeping the key players away from the injury list, and also do rotation while they're playing the conference league, I think they can. I think they could. I wouldn't say they win the title. That's the way to be beyond. But it wouldn't be surprised if they charge around the top 7 or 8 this season. I would not be surprised, and I think this is the pass that we've been waiting for a long time. It's been overdue since they've been in the Premier League now for over a decade now. And to be quite honest with you, we always thought every single season when they really do some good signings, I thought can make it up. But I think over Oliver Glasner, I think they can. I think they can be one of the most in very form teams that's going to be challenging for the top 8, 7, 8 around that type position of to try and compete in Europe. Now, I think they have got the squad now of competing as they did. Yeah, keeping Matt Gray, who did go to Liverpool at the end of the deadline day, is vital for
Yeah.
So and I think this team does not give up, and I think we're now seeing it. They has to lost Eze, and they could have lost Gray, but I think that squad would be still capable enough to really compete this season.
Yeah, you talk about Gray. I knew he was going to have a say in this game. Obviously got the assist for Nketiah's winner. Yeah, like Palace thoroughly deserved to win. I will say for us though, very poor, very very poor. That defeat's been coming. Defeat has definitely been coming. And actually, I would say only Allison and probably Federico Chiesa can go away with plus points in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. They can go. I think they're the only 2 players that performed well in that game for Liverpool. I think the rest of the squad, the rest of the team, 11, the squad was very disappointed. And I think with Kanate situation at the moment, and this is the thing, you know, individualism is really affected his confidence completely, and especially the what's been going on behind the scenes with his contract and vice versa. Is a question is did and also because now you lost Leone last weekend in the League Cup and he's out for the year, that is really critical because I know you will be playing in competitions, but if God forbid something happened to one of to Van Dijk or Gomez or Konate, who's going to cover in the centre back pairings? That's a critical one, and I think that this is why I'm thinking the Liverpool are going to have to figure this out now, especially losing the first game of the season. They're going to have to figure it out now
Yeah,
that the weight needs to come off their shoulders and perform better.
absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, Palace, 18 unbeaten. Liverpool lose for the first time this season, but thoroughly deserved win for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, absolutely. So well, let's move on to the next game and let's talk about the other title contenders. Arsenal came back from after being 1-0 down in the last 10 minutes or so in the game to win 2-1 against Newcastle United. Nick Voltemade scored a header for Newcastle, his second goal of the season. And then Mika Moreno scored the equaliser before Gabriel got the winner in the 95th, 96th minute of the game. Um, Doug, was Newcastle robbed in that game completely?
Um, I mean, I think Arsenal played really well in the game. But there was definitely some decisions that definitely didn't go Newcastle's way. Um, I'm still struggling to see how the ball comes off Gabriel's shin onto his arm
Yeah.
because I'm just looking at I know we obviously speak about obviously decisions as well, but close proximity as well. But I just I just look at that decision and I'm like I'm just looking at it and I just can't see for the life of me how he's managed to not give that decision. Um, and look, that could have easily changed the game. I know obviously it was 1-1 at the time, but um, I thought Newcastle played well to an extent that I mean, I think they were surprised that themselves to really go in 1-0 at half time against against Arsenal. Um, But I suppose the real worry, if I'm a Newcastle fan, is the injury to Tino Livramento. Now,
Mm,
I'm going to say this now. I think it was a really cowardly challenge from Saliba.
yeah.
Um, we've seen Harry Kane do this in the past, and he was he was sort of pulled up for it. Saliba doesn't, not even looking at the ball, and he's literally gone in, and I don't think he's going to really deliberately injure Livramento, but it's
No,
just the way he's like gone for the challenge, not even gone for the ball, and it looks a real bad one for Livramento, and hopefully that is not the case because I think Livramento has been absolutely fantastic for Newcastle this season and
yeah.
obviously last season as well, and I think he's going to be absolutely huge for England in the obviously next year's World Cup. So hopefully, for an England point of view and obviously a Newcastle point of view, that it's not a serious injury.
I hope not as well too. Absolutely hope not as well too. What do you think of the penalty decision that was overturned when Nick Pope brought down Victor Gyökeres, and it was overturned due to because Pope did get the touch on the ball just about. Were you surprised that of it was never a penalty, but you surprised the referee just pointed the spot initially?
I thought it was at the time. Um, I think when you look at the obviously Pope does get to the ball, but I I'm surprised Gyökeres has sort of gone up in the air like that.
Yeah,
Um, it was very, very strange, I thought. I mean, I've been a big sort of critic of Victor Gyökeres, and I've been kind of saying that, I think he will struggle against sort of the big clubs. And I think against sort of the so-called lesser clubs, I think he will get goals. Um, Again, his all-round play was okay, but it's just that factor of just trying to sort of put the ball in the back of the net. And is it a service to him? I just don't know what's going on with Victor Gyökeres.
I
But
think it has to be more the service, and then a lot of people are be saying he's more
mm,
better if the ball if it's a long ball because that's where he's more better when the ball's up in the air and if he plays centrally. That's the issue I have been noticing like that. I think when I've seen games where he's been playing for Sport Lisbon and some of the games he's more better when the ball's in the air and he gets that better service. I think that's the issue what's going on at the moment because I think deep down
mm,
with Arteta's system, it's still handbrake still on of trying to service the ball to Gyökeres completely.
yeah, I think that's definitely fair. But on that decision, I think it was a penalty. I think Newcastle did get away with one there because again, you're kind of looking at what's the difference with like Sanchez. He came out, got a touch on the ball, and then obviously went through in Buemo. So I suppose in a way, if we're sort of wanting consistency, then I think you have to say that Arsenal that one was a penalty. But what I don't understand is how Gabriel is still on the pitch.
Yeah,
Basically, first things first, he goes down like a sack of spuds for the Newcastle goal. Um, I even said it in one of the group chats. He is the fakest tough guy in football. Um, and I mean the decision to you basically go for Voltemada. Yes, it's not a punch, but use any kind of force with your hands or with your arms, violent conduct. So I'm really surprised that VAR didn't actually pull up for that.
yeah.
So I'm a bit surprised, and then obviously he scores the winning goal, but that does feel like a big win for Arsenal. They've been kind of doubted that they can win at places like Anfield, like Old Trafford, like St James's Park. So it is a huge, huge win. And to be fair, throughout the game, I think you've got to say they they deserve to win.
Yeah, they deserve to win, and then now hopefully can try to chase Liverpool. Now, it really kickstart this season after getting that win on Sunday at St James's Park as well. Let's move on to the next game. We'll click on the ticker. Doug, take it away.
Yes, some more misery for Ruben Amorim. Brentford 3, Manchester United 1. Is it inevitable, Carl, that Amarim's time is probably going to be coming to an end very shortly?
It definitely is. It definitely is. And listen, the back, even the backing that the statement of them backing the manager from Jimmy Radcliffe and the Glazers, it's written on the walls already. And it's like I said, I think the players are just tired of the system. They just give up. They're just giving up on him. So what Ray Rooney said on his podcast the last couple of days, even up to today, they've just given up completely. They've given up, you know, for
Yeah,
Amber completely. And I just think you look at that, Amber's not going to change it. He's so stubborn. He's not going to change it. And this is the thing. And I think now it's inevitable. It's going to happen by the international by the end of the international break coming up next week. I think they will have to make the change. I feel it is inevitable, and I just think, despite you won against Chelsea the other week, it doesn't cover the cracks in the walls that's been going on at Old Trafford for a long time. And you finally get to play three of your big signings up front, Sesko and Bremer and
yeah,
Cunha, which I think
yeah,
everyone's been crying out loud for that one for quite a while since those players have been signed since they joined the club this summer. It's the problem is it's just there's no one accountable. No one's holding each other accountable now. And I think this is now we're seeing it properly now, that every single time when these players will throw their manager on the bus, and it's been happening at Man United way too much long since Fergie retired. This has gone on too far now. Someone needs to grab the reins of the club, because of the morale at the club, with everything from the playing staff to the non-playing staff, with with people losing their jobs, you're cutting back on lunches, you're not looking out for the women's team. You put women's team as a second fiddle. It's so much issues going on, and it's just the system now just shows it's not working. I thought Man United would have done a little bit better, but I had a feeling that Brentford will find those ways, those weaknesses, and they did in the first few minutes. And after Thiago scored a goal, and like, who was supposed to be covering him? And that's something I was just like, it was baffling from the start to finish completely. And I think it's a huge worry now, for really. And I think that it's going to happen. I think Amram will, it'll be 1 year charge. He'll be gone. He'll be gone by the international break.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, talking about the first goal, I mean, it's just simple, basic defense. Like, like fair play to Igor Thiago for obviously staying on side, but Harry Maguire, you know, a lot of people have obviously said he's like the leader at the back, but it doesn't show any leadership skills for this one. But
No.
Igor Thiago, a player who's sort of gone under the radar slightly, obviously got that really serious injury last season, on his actual debut for Brentford. But this season, the goal obviously against Forest, goal against oh sorry, Ouattara scored against Villa, but scored against Manchester United, scored twice against Manchester United. Is he the player to keep Brentford in this league? Because I'm looking at sort of strikers in the league at the moment, and he seems to be one that seems to be scoring a fair few at the moment. I mean,
Yeah.
the first goal was fantastic strike. Half volley, top corner, no stopping that one. The second one, look, Altair by India has to do a lot better.
Yeah.
Like and that's another thing. We will come back to Manchester United because I don't really want to sort of take this away and think we're talking about like Man United, but Brentford, fantastic victory. Um, they're kind of making the G-Tech a bit of a fortress again.
I had doubts about them, Doug, and I might still have them a bit. But if they keep fighting like that, I think that there'll be less doubts completely. I think, listen, you take a risk of giving Keith Andrews, who was a set piece coach, his first job in the manager in the Premier League, against a team that's lost so much key players, and also the manager Thomas Frank. Igor Thiago, there was questions about him because last season when he came from Club Brugge, he got injured his debut. So he missed a lot, last season. But it looks like he's still fresh after the injury, he's still fresh, and I think
Mm,
the goals are there for him. So I think that there is a good chance that I think he could be one of those key players if he can get double figures by Christmas. I think there's a chance they will stay up, and I think even when you play Kevin Shard alongside him and Otara up front, I think their three are formidable actually completely now as from what I'm seeing. And I think yeah they're going to have losses, but if they make G take a fortress, like they did under the Frank era, I think Keith Andrews will probably be probably will be getting a lot of accolades if they do keep them up, if they do keep Brentford up this season.
should Nathan Collins have seen red?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. You should see red. It was a goal scoring opportunity that was denied, and it was very surprising that he was the VAR did not overturn it, and it should have been VL to red. So the thing is, because I think it was so pressure for Bruno Fernandes, had to wait for so many minutes again. After what happened at full when the
Mm,
referee was in his way, and he had to wait for this again. I think Kelly is going to be probably one of the unsung heroes this season. Like I said, to keep Brentford
yeah,
up. But like I say, Nathan Collins should have been sent off completely.
and yeah, Callagher. I mean, he was known for saving loads of penalties at Liverpool, and now he's showing his mettle at Brentford. A fantastic save, but you've got to say that's now Bruno Fernandes missed two penalties. Do you think that move to Saudi, how he's like turned it down, how Manchester United didn't cash in, do you think that's affecting his performances?
100% it has. Definitely has. And I'm not going to say anything more about that. It has. And I think that with his age, he should have gone. And I've maybe to put Man United to rebuild because what are you supposed to do? When you reject something like that, it does knock your confidence, especially for a player of his caliber. I would have taken that money. Man United should have taken that money and let him just have settle in with time, make sure him and his fucking retire, on a good
Mm,
wage and stuff. Yeah, I think it's affected his confidence completely.
yeah, but very, very good victory for Brentford. Um, I mean, another one obviously Cesco's off the mark, but again, I worry for Cesco. I really think
Mm,
that he's going to struggle to score goals in this league.
yeah,
I mean, they've got a really tough game at the weekend. Sunderland come into Old Trafford, and then it's away to Anfield after the international break. Now,
yeah,
whether Amorim will be still in charge by then is another matter. Another very quick one: Jordan Henderson, absolutely outstanding for Brentford
yeah.
again. He was outstanding against Chelsea. He was absolutely everywhere against Manchester United.
He definitely was. I think I thought he would have gone back to Sunderland, but I think he's picked the right club at Brentford with his quality of that leadership they needed, experience, replace Norgard. I think they've done quite well to get someone like him after he left Liverpool a few seasons ago to go to Saudi. But yeah, I think that club suits the style of the caliber that he needs to have that leadership to make sure this team stays up the season.
Absolutely.
Right, let's go to the Etihad. Man City beating Burnley 5-1. Haaland at a double, and unfortunately, Matis Esteve he's got two own goals. He's the first defender to score two own goals since Jamie Carragher. It's a long time, that dog. And listen, Man City, are they looking back to their best a little bit now? Are they slowly after Phil Foden looked a little bit better after the midweek last week against us in the League Cup? Is the signs are now coming back for Pep's team?
Yeah, I think the signs are definitely coming back. I think they were a bit unlucky to concede their goal. I think Anthony makes the most of it. Does go for City defender, and then obviously goes into the back of the net. Poor old Maximus Stevie though. That's yeah, two own goals as you said. The first time since Jimmy Carragher since 1997, I think it
7,
was.
yeah.
So it's been a long, long time coming. So yeah, he joins a bit of an elusive club, unfortunately. But I thought Burnley played okay. Actually, I thought
Yeah.
they contained Manchester City, and bit surprising to sort of go in at sort of half time with like 1-1. But no, I think in the end, I think City's class showed. But I'll tell you something, and Burnley can. play like that away from home. Scott Parker seems to have learned his lessons, I think, from the
Yeah,
last time being in the Premier League. Well, obviously, like Bournemouth was way, way too open, but with Burnley, I think he's kind of got that defensive needle that you really, really need in this team.
yeah.
And I've got to say, Dubravka, I thought had a really good game again. He looks a really, really good signing for them as well. So no, I know Burnley are in the relegation zone at the moment, but it's only 6 games played. So, but no, look, I think it's a really, really good performance from Burnley. But obviously, City's class showed in the end. And yeah, Haaland at the double again. Although he had to wait until like the 90, I think it was the 91st and 94th minute there. I think he got both goals. So,
Yeah.
um, but no, very, very good win for City, and yeah, it's been a pretty good weekend for them. With obviously United losing, Liverpool losing, and obviously Chelsea losing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, do you know the best thing is I actually selected Haaland as my triple captain this past weekend, and it paid dividends completely because I think it got me about 48 points, and I think because I've done quite well. Out of 124 points, I got 91 points. I think I had the most in not just in your league, in the league, but also one of my friends' league. So I've actually done quite well of keeping consistent. This question is, do I now replace Salah now? Because of he's been a
Mm,
bit of on and off. So there's a question I need to think about that one for this weekend coming up. So yeah.
no, that's yeah, no, fair, fair play to you. And I know what people probably triple captain talent anyway, but um, Matheus Nunes getting a goal as well, which is very, very good to see.
Yeah,
Um, I've got to say, I've been one of his biggest critics. I think Jeremy Doku's actually having a pretty good season so far.
I think he's now. Yeah, I think we're not having Grealish around there. I think there was a question: is are there two? One of who's the better player suited for Pep? Was it Grealish? We know that Grealish was it, but what Doku was the similar. But I think we're now seeing he is now starting to come a little bit better this season. Especially he was a bit those criticisms last season as well. So it was quite huge, for him his contributions in the game.
Are you a bit worried about Rodri? Missed the game at the weekend. I think they've got to really manage him well because of obviously the serious
Yeah,
ACL he had. Seems to be getting a bit of discomfort in his knee. I think it's safe to say that City are going to have to handle him very, very well. I think.
they're gonna have to, and I think that's why they had to sign Reinders from Ace and Nico Gonzalez as well. So I think there's a reason why his presence missed last season as well. So I think they're gonna have to manage it really bad. That's why they need. That's why they had to sign. They had to do some business, not just in January, but this past summer as well, to cover him just in case to manage his minutes now going forward this season because it is going to be a long season. I don't think he can play all, every single game now.
Yeah, and City go to Monaco in the Champions League this week as well. So huge win for City, and yeah, if you predicted 5-0 like I did, yeah, you got very, very close. So yeah, well
Mm,
done, Jayden Anthony, for not getting a perfect prediction.
absolutely. All right, let's on to you, Doug. Is that go to the game at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah, well, this was a tale of two halves, but one decision definitely changed the game. Chelsea won, Brighton 3. I mean, it doesn't matter how much Chelsea pay for Brighton players. Brighton always just seem to have the upper hand on them, and it happened again. But what I will say is Enzo Fernandez scored to make it 1-0. Chelsea won at half time 1-0. Um, and then a decision on the 53rd minute. Now, I'm absolutely amazed that the referee did not see this decision on field. It's a clear red card. Chalaba has fouled his man, and obviously Sanchez is the one, obviously before him as well. But the fact is that Simon Hooper had to go to the monitor. I didn't think Simon Hooper had a very good game. Let me just put it this
No,
way.
he didn't.
Um, the game definitely changed after that because Brighton were fantastic. I thought Danny Welbeck at the double, as I've said. guys, if you haven't seen the first goal, what a ball from Minty, and just the movement of Danny Welbeck, and obviously past Robert Sanchez, as well. Obviously, De Cooper got his first goal, as well, and then yeah, it was really, really poor defending for the third goal. Chelsea mistake at the back, and obviously allowed Welbeck in to get his second. But um, I mean, the thing is with Chelsea, right? They've got this young team. They've got young players. They've got, they are missing Cole Palmer. I think that's a real thing for me. They're missing Cole Palmer. But now, I know we said this a way while ago about obviously Fabian Herzler being under pressure. Do you think Enzo Maresca is under pressure now?
Pretty much, yes. I think he's pretty much under the pressure. I think we've seen Chelsea have been always been a one dimensional team with it when they have Cole Palmer, and I think that's now we've seen the vulnerability when he's not been playing. And I said this past weekend alongside Reese. I think that as I would say, and they're not playing up to Cole Palmer's strengths of where Cole Palmer likes to play. Is Maresca restricted him of his movement? And I think without him, there's a problem. There is a really huge problem with that. And I think deep down, look, the players that he's bought in, some of them are, and I think that you look at the defense. Chalobah's not had a very good few weeks. He scored an own going back against Bayern Munich Champions League. He had Sanchez getting sent off, against Manchester United last weekend, and now Chalobah getting sent off. And like I said, Sam Hope had a really terrible game. I'm not gonna lie; he should have actually really given a straight red card rather than go through the VAR to overturn that decision from yellow to red. But I think there's under pressure now with Maresca, and I think especially when you're playing, you got Champions League against Benfica, who are coming in very strong to a returning Jose Mourinho. That just says it all.
Yeah.
Of who's going to be the tactician? I just cannot see, you know. And I think the problem is Chelsea cannot be adaptable without Cole Palmer, and I think you saw that in the last weekend's defeat to Manchester United. When he took him off quite early due to his injury. They're just having issues at the moment, Chelsea. And like I said, yes, no Liam Delap, injured. He's injured. João Pedro, he's come off the boil a little bit now after for his
Mm,
first couple of games to start to the season. So it's pressure from Enzo Maresca, especially when you won the Conference League and as well as the Club World Cup and finishing in the top
yeah.
four last season. There's huge pressure at the moment. There really is.
I'm gonna go back to two decisions. One is obviously involving Moises Caicedo. The other one is involving Gusto. Now,
Mm,
anywhere else on the pitch, Carl, anywhere else on the pitch, that is a free kick.
yeah.
It's a high boot into Minty. How on earth has Simon Hooper missed it? How's VAR basically decided that that is not a penalty because it is a high boot into Minty. Gusto completely misses his flight at the ball and catches his man. So how is that not a penalty?
I don't know, Doug. I really don't know. It's impossible to say. I was astonished as just as you. When I saw it today, when I saw it early on, when I watched the highlights today, I thought, how is that so clear and obvious? Why did no overruled, not from VAR, to someone to overrule say it was it's a penalty. Especially it was high, and Gusto was very lucky he did not get sent off completely because Chelsea would have gone out to 9 minutes
Hmm.
for the high boot. I was just astonished how Sarah Hooper, stayed with his decision. I totally did not understand that. I was perplexed as well. So I just think, like I said, the consistency is not there. The
Hmm.
consistency needs to be so much better. I don't know what's going to be said with Howard Webb on the My Cup late this week about that, but I think it's going to be a lot of criticism. I think that it should have been a penalty, and it should have been another red card for Chelsea. I just think the game was already gone for them anyway, completely.
And Moises Caicedo and Van Hecke. Now, this wasn't caught by VAR. I don't think he even went to VAR,
Mhm.
but it's a red card. Like he is basically gone for Van Hecke, and he is extremely lucky that that has not been picked up by VAR, because I think if it was picked up by VAR, I think he would have gone.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I would agree with you. He was definitely would have definitely gone, and I just surprised that it was missed by the officials and VAR completely.
Yeah, but a huge win for Fabian Hurstler. Well, Chelsea, yeah, as Karl said, welcome the special one to Stamford Bridge, and then welcome the champions next weekend.
Absolutely. So let's go to the City ground and Sunderland continue their good run of form after winning 1-0 at not at the City ground, beat Nottingham Forest, and Ange Postecoglou still looking for his first win. But I have to say, Forest didn't look good, Doug, and uh,
Yeah.
there's questions now, especially. I don't know what your take on this, but they couldn't complain too much about the free kick anyway. To let it to go from al dente.
No, I think it's a dive. I think it's a dive by Rodriguez. I think he knows what he's doing. He's obviously waiting for the contact from Tree Hume, and I think it is a free kick. I think it's the correct decision. I know Forest weren't too pleased as well, but I have to give it special mention. Granit Xhaka. I think if we look back at signings over this season, he's probably going to be right up there for the best of them, because how often do you basically say that Granit Xhaka, a player who's obviously played for Arsenal in this league, he's obviously been at Bayern Munich, sorry, Bayer Leverkusen, and now he goes to Sunderland, and he just looks like the leader in the pack in that team.
Yeah.
He looks so good. I've got to say, Sunderland backs to the wall job, but very good 3 points, and that's 11 points now they've got, which is fantastic. I keep messaging my uncle, because he's a big Sunderland fan,
Yes, I
and
forgot about you. Uncle's a big Sunderland fan, yeah.
yeah, and I keep messaging him. Oh, that's like the now 29 points to go for until obviously get the magic 40. But I think the way it's going, I honestly think Sunderland are going to win more games, because they're such a good team. Lebrie's definitely got them playing. And I've got to say, another inspired signing is their goalkeeper. Oh my days! I mean, he got plaudits against Crystal Palace. He needs to get plaudits against Forest. I thought he was outstanding. Some
Yeah,
of the saves he was making as well. But
yeah.
yeah,
I put him
Forest.
in my fantasy team this past week, so I paid dividends with
Mhm.
the 10 points.
Well, I had Keller, so
You did.
so he obviously saved the penalty. But no, like, very good one for Sunderland, and yeah, Forest. I mean, the one chance you want the ball to fall to, header, free header, and he misses it. It's Chris Wood. Now I've got to say, Forest for me just look a shadow of themselves this season.
Do, yeah.
Um, and it's no wins in five now. So yeah, I think Forest are. I mean, I predicted them to have a bit of a drop off this season. I didn't quite expect sort of the drop off that they're having right now.
No, absolutely no. Actually, I did not. I expected to drop off, like I said, but not to that certain extent. Especially, I think Nuno knew what he was doing. He knew he was going to get the sack, and he just wanted to leave. And I think with Ange coming in, it's a bit of a question that might now of can he get results? And it's been a struggle. It's been an absolute struggle actually. But from Sunderland's point of view, I think we should let our very own Michael Barnes have his say in his clip for the next couple of few minutes and see what he was at the game this past weekend, so let's get his take on the result this past weekend.
Thanks ever so much to Doug, Karl, and the gang for having this clip on the 20. As I said, always all the time, go and subscribe to both channels. Very very good content around the Premier League, Championship, and everything in between. Yeah, I mean, what a win for Sunderland at the weekend away at Nottingham Forest. It's obviously look. I mean, I know a lot has been made about our easy start, as some people like to say it, but you got to remember the last three games have been against sides that have been in are playing in Europe and finished in either in European qualification last season, or, and I know that's last season, but they finished in European qualification, and the other one of which won the FA Cup, which is, and again, Palace won the FA Cup against Man City. They beat Liverpool in Community Shield and beat Liverpool at the weekend, and deservedly so. They're a good team. Villa, I know obviously Villa got their first win at the weekend, so maybe we did still play Villa at the right time. But remember, Sunderland were down to 10 men for an hour of the game. Deservedly so, by the way. It was a red card for Reinildo. But it doesn't change the fact we were down to 10 men, and that's a hard game at the best of times. So we managed to graft and get something with 10 men. And then obviously this game away at Nottingham Forest, look, did Sunderland create as much as I would have liked? No, but as I've said repeatedly as I said a few times, if we come up here and try to do what Southampton did last season, try to do to an extent what Ipswich did, and to an even bigger degree, try and do what Burnley did the season before under Vincent Kompany, we will probably get battered and we'll definitely get relegated because we don't have the resources or the financial power to be able to attract the players that will enable us to swashbuckle our way in the Premier League because we've been out of it for 8 years. So we have to grind and dig deep and really battle out, particularly away from home as well. And that was obviously important for us on so many different ways because it was our first goal scored away from home this season. It was our first goal scored in the first half this season, and of course was our first away win. And from a personal point of view, I've been going and following Sunderland for about 14, 15 years now, and that was the first time I've seen a Premier League away win. Obviously, for 8 of those seasons, we were outside the Premier League, we were in the EFL, but either way, it was obviously massive. It was a massive win for us. We kind of sort of stood still a little bit when Alderete put the ball in the back of the net because we didn't realise that he'd scored. So, that was fantastic. Look, obviously, second half, the biggest chance Nottingham Forest created was Chris Wood, point blank range header. When he drifts free of his marker, and for a player of Chris Wood's quality, you would expect him to at least be putting that on target. But obviously, Geertruida at the other end, who came off the bench in the second half, ended up having a fantastic solo run and shot straight at Matt Sells, which was obviously disappointing. Ballard had a chance that was a bit difficult because he was on the turn as he was having the shot. But still, no, Sunderland for me were full value to at least get something from the game, and we obviously didn't have much of the ball, but I think that in the second half, sometimes I thought we were a little bit sloppy on and off. Sorry, when we had the ball, because when you're under the caution, you're defending and defending and defending. If you need to be good on the ball when you've got it, because otherwise, if you keep losing the ball and you keep losing possession, you're then inviting pressure back onto you, which makes you more physically and mentally tired from it. So it's but nevertheless, we held out, and it's a fantastic win, and it just proves that. We've shown we can compete at this level. We know we have to play elite teams at some point. But because of that very reason, we needed to start well, I think. And a long way to go, of course, a long way to go. As I always say, I'm enjoying this. Don't believe me, I am enjoying this after everything we've been through. But we need to keep our feet on the ground and remember that it's a long way to go. My personal expectation is to try and get to 40 points as quickly as possible. And we're over a quarter of the way to that tally already, which is really impressive. And we're, a point from Southampton's tally of all of last season, which is embarrassing from Southampton's point of view, don't get me wrong. We're matched Derby's worst records points tally already after 6 games. But yeah, it's important. We've just got to keep our feet on the ground and keep going and keep going. Man United away next week will not be easy. Wolves at home after that is a big game. Obviously, no game's easy in the Premier League, so we'll wait and see. And I'm going to end it by saying, yes, I am very aware I don't expect to finish above this lot, but I'll just say for now, mind the gap.
Oh, typical Michael Bowers. I did say to you, you could have a little dig if you want, actually, and he actually paid dividends on that one. So I'll give you credit. Thank you, Michael, for your review this past weekend between Nottingham Forest and Sunderland as well. So yeah.
No, fair play. No, Sunderland have started really well, and as Michael said there, along with my uncle, I just say basically get to the magic 40, and yeah, see where it takes you. But yeah, quarter of the way through already is fantastic, and yeah, that is embarrassing. Only being 1 point behind Southampton's total for last season already, leveling Derby's points as well. So. Yeah, a very good start for Sunderland, and yeah, a big game at Old Trafford next week. But that's a game you could kind of maybe see them getting something. To be honest with you,
You think so? I would probably say the same thing as well. Actually, yeah, I do think they can get something like that game, especially against a very very on hostile with the fact between the Man United fans and the players at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Let's go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Doug. And Tottenham, fortunately got spared, after the spared, your opinion, spared blushes in the last couple of minutes of the game. We were 1 draw against Wolves. Wolves are finally off the back, or off the back after, I think it was Brendan was getting his first goal as well. Spurs were really struggling to keep up with Wolves the much of the game until probably you score. Do you think Wolves should have got that 3 points this past weekend?
Yeah, I think. I mean, there was one point blank save, I think, from Sam Johnston. Good to see him back actually in goal. I think I've been kind of saying for weeks now that Jose Sa should be dropped. Because I think you look at last week. I know obviously it was against your lot, Karl, but that free kick, he should save it because it's
Yeah.
just where he was, he should save it. So good to see Sam Johnson back in goal for Wolves. But I thought Wolves played really, really well in this game. I mean, they have proven to be a bit of a bogey side for Spurs in the past.
Yeah.
But again, it's probably typical Spurs, to be honest. Like you wouldn't really expect them. I don't think anyone expected Wolves to get anything from that. But at least Wolves are off the mark. And yeah, one of the most unlikeliest goal scorers in Santiago Bueno, which was basically a tap in, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spurs. This is something Thomas Frank's got to really sort out. I think is the inconsistency between sort of Champions League and inconsistency between Premier League as well. But yeah, Polina obviously getting the late equaliser, which was a cracking finish
It
to be
was.
honest with him. But yeah, Spurs, they'll need to sort of improve for sure. But the biggest thing for me for takeaway from that game is that Wolves are finally off the mark.
Absolutely, yeah, finally off the mark indeed. And that's especially huge for Victor Pereira, especially he's been under pressure. But they finally got the the point that they needed actually, and it's a good deserved point, especially going against a Spurs side who up to now had a good decent run until the last couple of games they've had. So yeah, give them credit, but like I said, give big credit to Spurs to try to get a point because
Yeah.
they could have lost this game easily. They could have done so.
Yeah, they could have done. Obviously, Kudus had a goal ruled out for offside. Would have been a fantastic goal. The build up between Brennan Johnson to Bergvall and then to Kudus. Unfortunately, he was just offside, but again, that was very very good as well. But I really like what Thomas Frank has done at Spurs already. Looks like he's got them playing, and
Yeah,
they're going to be a match for anyone. But as I said, Wolves huge point away from home, and yeah, kind of unexpected really. I don't think anyone had kind of expected them to get anything from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But fair play to them.
fair play to them. So we've got at least 3 games to go. Doug will let you take the next one. The game at Ellen Road.
Yes, a bit of a Desmond in this one. Leeds United 2, Bournemouth 2. I've said there, Leeds United, is it 2 points dropped or 1 point gained? I was a lot of let Karl speak about that as well. But we'll speak about Bournemouth because I think they've had a fantastic start to the season, especially with the players that they've lost, with the players that have obviously departed as well. Trofford looks a really, really good signing as well. And yeah, to be fair to the Andoni Iraola, very good point for them. Obviously coming back from a goal behind as well, which was a cracking strike from Longstaff, who I believe got 9.9 in Foot Pro.
Yeah,
So that was very very good to say the very very least. But no, good point for Bournemouth. But I'll come on to Leeds. Is it 2 points dropped? Because I felt you played really well in this game and bit unlucky to obviously lose that equaliser in the end. But how do you look back on that game?
Do you know what, Doug? I actually before I said this over the weekend. I said I'd be happy with a draw because both of them are a great side. We didn't need to underestimate them. And you know what? When we were 1-0 down, we still took on the chances completely, but quite well. Campbell has some good,
Mhm.
decent chances, but the header from Rodon to bring us back in the game, the fans were outside, and then Longstaff with that goal. What a goal from Longstaff as well. But like I said, it's not a bad point. It's not a bad point. I think we were close. I think we were just so close. It's like I said, we were good more in the first half, and then towards the end of the second half, in the end, Bournemouth came back good as well. So I would have said 2 points to draw. Yeah, I wanted to win, but I'm probably more happy with the point because you know what, it's a good decent start for us at home, and I think a lot of fans. I think because difference is between like who's in under Farker and like what we're thinking about with Scott Parker. I think Farker is now learning to be better defensively needleless, and that's something that I think it's been stamped into, especially when we need at home. Yeah, we lost the Arsenal 5-0. That's a different sort of fiction. But if long
Yeah.
as we compete in, I think that's the most important thing. And you know what? It was the equalizer. Yeah, it stung a little bit, but I think the Leeds fans in general, from what I've seen, were a little bit more satisfied, a little bit more, say a point to point against a good Bournemouth side who have lost so
Yeah.
much key players, and we gave them for their money while we were competing. So I wouldn't complain as much about it.
No, absolutely not. I think when you look at Leeds as well, they've got a really, really good balance in their team. I mean, Dominic Calvert-Lewin had one of those games that he probably should probably do better. A couple of those.
But
We
he's
could have,
slowly
we could have
getting
got,
back to the Karl that we've known seasons ago before his injury. He's
yeah,
slowly
yeah.
getting there, and I think he's probably better than Pirro at the moment, starting up front.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, as well, I've got to say this. It's been a very good start for the promoted sides. They've taken 23 points. I think it's the best start since 2017, 2018.
Yeah,
Now, two sides stayed up that season. So, sort of question to you, really, Carl, is this season. I know it's a bit early so far to sort of predict places as well, but it's been a very good start for the three promoted clubs.
yeah, absolutely. It's been a very good start for the three promoted clubs. I think when you look at especially there was people who was writing us, especially it wasn't going to be the same season, just like last season with the teams like Leicester,
Yeah,
Southampton and Ipswich. I think because those teams did, I think because we've done a bit more better prepared of spending for Premier League caliber players, not just in England, but finding players across Europe that can compete, and that's been the difference, especially with Sunderland, what they've done in the transfer market. I think now we're seeing there is a bit more competitiveness from these sides now because you cannot just spend bits and balls like what Luton did a couple of seasons ago where they nearly stayed up, but in a
yeah,
way, you know. Ipswich was not the team we were not supposed to be there last season, especially the bot players for this season in the Championship. Where these three teams have done, they've got players for the Premier League, and even though if they get relegated, one of the teams get relegated, there's huge resale value that they can keep most of the players who to compete. So I think there's a chance that maybe at least 2 out of the 3 promoted teams. I'm going to say that's my minimum. Maybe if see 2 of the 3 promoted teams could stay up this season.
maybe all three.
Maybe all
Maybe all
3.
three, but
It's been a while since the team's done it because the team that came up was, I was just thinking, was it no, it was Newcastle or Huddersfield were the last teams that got promoted. Did Brighton get promoted that same season as well as them 2 teams? Because I feel like they did.
possibly,
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
possibly,
so 3 of those teams did stay up. So it was Brighton, Huddersfield, and
yeah,
Newcastle stayed up. So I would say 2 out of 3. It's always been the numbers always been 2 promoted teams that usually stay up.
yeah. But a very entertaining 2-2 draw at Elland Road.
Absolutely. Let's go on to Villa Park, and actually Aston Villa get their first win, including a peach from John McGinn. Fulham were hard done by so much decisions gone against them. Doug, listen, let's start off with with Fulham's decision hard done by. Did Marcus Silva raise a good point about certain decisions in the game?
Yeah, I think Fulham are definitely hard done by, especially the Josh King one. I think if you look at it again, Martinez completely takes him out with his right foot.
Mm.
So on another day, if that's given, then I think Fulham they probably do better. For sure. But they did take the lead through Jimenez, really good header, I've got to say, from Raul Jimenez. Good to see him back on the score sheet as well.
Yeah,
Did a wee well for them, but Villa needed this win. Absolutely needed this win. They obviously got that win against Bologna in the Europa League. Um, and yeah, fair play to Super John McGinn. Really good goal. He missed a very good chance in the first half to put them sort
yeah.
of level and with that. But obviously you got Ollie Watkins to score in that one,
He,
and
he
then
finally got his
obviously
goal
McGinn.
because, especially he struggled in the game against Bologna when the penalty was saved as well. That must have been to
Yeah,
get his monkey off his back because I know he was struggling with not scoring goals since towards the end of last season. But it was good to get his confidence boost back up to get his first goal of the season.
yeah, absolutely. I know there's a Buendia got the third as well. So very very good win for Aston Villa. But yeah, Fulham, they will definitely be hard done by some of the decisions, I would have to say.
Yeah,
Um, I think, yeah, if they get that penalty, then I think it's a completely different game. I think they probably go, 2-0 up, and as well. But as I said, I don't think VAR's had a particularly good weekend again.
no,
So,
no, not really.
um, and Marco Silva will just be sick and tired of speaking about referees. Let's be honest.
He has. I can see the frustration. I mean, I felt like you got overboard, but now I did feel sorry for him for his comments what he said when I watched his post match interview completely. I really felt sorry for him actually.
Yeah, but yeah, Fulham go to Bournemouth on the Friday night football, so that'll be another tough test for Marco Silva's men.
Absolutely as well. Let's go on to the final game, Doug. That was just done not too long ago. West Ham, it's a tale of two halves. West Ham getting the equaliser from Jared Bowen, and Keane scored in the first half. But it's a tale of two
Yeah.
halves, Doug. What was your take on it?
Mm. Yeah, it was a very strange game. I think Everton had the better of the play in the first half. A fantastic header from Michael Keane, lovely ball from Garner, and it's just I think the power sort of took it in really past Areola. Poor defending from West Ham's point of view, but no, a very good finish from Michael Keane, and yeah, Jared Bowen becoming sort of the first player to score at the old Dickinson Stadium. And again, it's just Jared Bowen brilliant. It's just cutting in on his left foot. Like, how many times are defenders and players know, don't let him cut on his left foot,
No,
because his
no.
left foot is fantastic, and obviously scored a fantastic goal to put West Ham back in the game. Um, obviously, if that's what we're going to be seeing from Nuno, then fair play to them. But
What
it's a
did you expect
big
from his?
big
What did you
win.
expect of his first game, especially coming in after the sacking of Graham Potter this past weekend? Especially, do you think? I know it was a disgrace how they let the sacking the day after of his job
Yeah,
of his pre-match conference, post pre-match conference. But is this the right
yeah.
decision to give him a 3-year contract? And especially the way we saw West Ham coming into the game in the second half, is that what we're expecting now from Nuno to be a bit more difficult now for teams to play against West Ham?
Yeah, look what he did at Forest was fantastic. My only worry for Nuno is that if he sort of falls out with David Sullivan, Karen Brady, or Baroness Brady, I should say, that could be interesting. That could be very very interesting. But no, I was surprised at the timing of Potter's sacking. I know you obviously discussed on the Saturday show, and I think one thing Reese brought up was Potter was not a popular sort of fit for sort of
No,
Chelsea. A lot of people kind of expected him to do well at West Ham, and it just didn't sort of materialise there. Um, so no, I think Nuno is the right choice for manager. And actually, when you look at it, could be a really interesting managerial appointment there. Just very, very quickly as well, Kieran Dewsbury Hall will miss the Crystal Palace game. That's his 5th booking. I think he was really unlucky to get
Yeah,
booked, if I'm being honest.
yeah,
Um,
okay.
and yeah, it's a good point for West Ham because I think it kind of sort of stops that rot of those defeats that they had. And yeah, Nuno will make them tough to break down, and he'll make them tough to get beat as well. But yeah, Everton will be sort of kicking themselves after a 1-1 draw. But yeah, I think if Potter had been in charge, I think it would probably be a much
Yeah.
different result, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it would have been a much heavier result indeed, Doug. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think this kind of calms down everything with Nuno, especially choosing his first 11. I think playing Fulkrug up front. I think Somerville had a better game. He created a lot of chances on the
Hmm.
wings. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I think that left-hand side for West Ham, I thought played really well. And then obviously you've got Bowen scoring the goal as well. But yeah, point apiece, probably a fair result in the end.
yeah, fair results. Well, Doug, thanks for doing all the results like with me as well. Let's go look at the tables in the Premier League. So Liverpool had their first defeat, but they're still 2 points ahead of Arsenal, while Crystal Palace are the only team still unbeaten. Sunderland are now in 5th place with Bournemouth, and Man City just behind them in the top 7. Chelsea got dropped down to 8th, alongside Everton just moved up to 9th. And then at the bottom of the table, like I said, Wolves finally get the break off the duck with their first point this past weekend against Spurs. While West Ham and Burnley still in the bottom 3, with even West Ham get a point, still the 11 points, but Burnley on goal difference. Man United and Newcastle down in 40-50, while Brentford above them, just behind Leeds and Fulham and Brighton make up the top 10, but not the first drop down to 17th, which is a huge concern at the moment where they are after Aston Villa get their first win of the season. So, yeah, those are all of all the table, and we've done our prediction, done our results here as well. So, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for listening in. Please hit the subscribe button on both our channels, at the Dugout Football channel and the Total Levy on Football Podcast, and hit that hype button as well too for both of our channels as well. Keep an eye on Doug's content this week as well, especially with the Champions League, the Liverpool away at Galatasaray, and he will do his championship predictions review, well, the Scottish Premiership and the Premier League. I'll be back on this weekend with the No Dose of the Saturday show at 11 a.m. While I'll be back on the next Sunday, we'll be doing another championship review with Annie and Michael, and then, like I said, me, Doug, will be doing this recorded every Monday night of the 20 after the last each of the Monday night football games, and it will be here straight away on Tuesday after late Tuesday afternoon, evening time before the Champions League break. But Doug, thanks very much for as usual. Glad we did this recording, and actually done this within an hour, which is actually quite good actually for both of us as we wanted to do. So.
Yeah, no, thank you again as always, Karl. It's been a good to chat to you, and yeah, obviously we've got a week of the Champions League. I think the Conference League starts as well, and obviously Championship, and then obviously SPFL as well. So yeah, huge weekend away, and then yeah, the dreaded international break as
Well,
well.
I know it's
So
dreaded, but at least you'll be coming to the Edinburgh Derby on Saturday, over Edinburgh Derby on Saturday. Not just with me, but Reese is coming as well. So
yeah, hoping to get along to that, and that will be yeah, Spartans Edinburgh City. I think I remember rightly. I think
was
we
in
were
the
there
last
last
season.
season.
We last game of the season, yeah. So
Yeah, 3-1 to
Spartans, yeah.
Spartans. So yeah, looking forward to that, and yeah, we'll see what happens for sure.
We'll see what happens. So, everyone, all of you have a good week. We'll see you guys.